I watched my mother hand out gift bags at her 65th birthday party. Everyone pulled out custom tea, shirts, laughing as they read the messages. Favorite daughter, golden child. Mom's pride and joy. Then I opened mine. Bold red letters screamed, "Biggest disgrace to this family." The room went silent. My brother snickered. Mom smiled coldly. I had paid for this entire party. $4,000. I didn't cry. I reached into my purse, pulled out a thick stack of papers, and tore them in half. The sound echoed through the private dining room. I dropped the pieces on the table and walked out. My hands shook as I drove home. Not from anger, from something stranger. Relief, maybe, or the beginning of freedom. I didn't know yet. The restaurant disappeared in my rearview mirror, along with 47 relatives who had just watched me destroy something important. They didn't know what those papers were. Not yet. My phone started buzzing before I even reached the highway. I ignored it. 20 minutes of driving in silence, my mind replaying the moment over and over. That T-shirt. That horrible, cruel T-shirt. And my mother's face when she handed it to me, that cold satisfaction in her eyes. I'm 30, 2 years old. I work as a medical billing specialist. I make decent money, enough to buy my own small house 3 years ago. Enough to live modestly but comfortably. Or at least, I used to live comfortably, before I became the family ATM. My younger brother Travis is 28. He's always been the golden child. Went to an expensive private college on our parents' dime, failed out after 2 years, moved back home. They paid for everything. His car, his apartment, his lifestyle. Now he works part-time at our cousin's car dealership and lives in a condo that, honestly, he has no business affording. My younger sister Kelsey is 26, married with 2 kids. Our parents worship her because she gave them grandchildren. Never mind that she's constantly broke, constantly needing help, constantly calling with emergencies. She's the princess, the successful one, in their eyes. And me? I'm the spinster, the career woman, the one who never married, never had kids, never gave them what they really wanted. So I became useful in other ways. I became the bank. It started 2 years ago. Dad had heart surgery, a triple bypass. The insurance covered most of it, but not everything. Medical bills piled up. $25,000 in out of pocket costs. They came to me, crying, desperate. "We'll lose the house," Dad said. "We'll lose everything." I liquidated my emergency fund, took out a personal loan, handed them $25,000. They signed an agreement, notarized, promised to pay me back in 6 months. I believed them because I was stupid, because I loved them, because they were my parents. 6 months later, Mom's car died. A 15-year-old sedan that finally gave up. She needed a new one, $15,000. They added it to the repayment plan. I drained what was left of my savings. Took out another loan. They signed another agreement. Then Travis lost his job at the dealership, got fired for showing up late too many times, faced foreclosure on his condo, needed $12,000 immediately. Our parents came to me. "Save your brother," they said. "Save the family." I did. Signed another agreement. Last year, Kelsey's husband left her. Just walked out on her and the 2 kids. She needed money for a divorce lawyer, for rent, for everything. $26,000. I maxed out credit cards, took out yet another loan. "You have no children," Mom said. "No husband. What else are you spending money on?" $78,000 total. Every penny documented, every agreement signed, every promise made. I kept copies of everything, organized them in a folder. Original documents, notarized and official. Then last week, Mom asked me to pay for her birthday party. The venue, the food, the decorations, everything. $4,000. I hesitated. My credit cards were maxed. My savings were gone. My loans were crushing me. "After all we've done for you," she said, "you won't even give your mother a nice birthday?" I paid for the party, used my last available credit. Went into my final savings account, the one I swore I'd never touch. I paid for my own humiliation. Because those custom T-shirts, they were part of the party, part of what I paid for. My mother used my money to mock me in front of the entire family. I pulled into my driveway, sat in my car. My phone had 43 missed calls. I went inside, locked the door behind me. The silence felt good. Safe. Then I looked at my purse, at the torn papers still stuffed inside, and reality hit me like ice water. Those papers I had torn up? Those were the originals, the only physical copies of the loan agreements, the documents proving my parents owed me $78,000. I ran to my computer, searched my email frantically. I had scanned some of them, hadn't I? I must have. I opened folder after folder, searching through thousands of emails. Found one scan from 2 years ago. The first loan, $25,000. But the image was blurry. You could barely make out the signatures. The other agreements? I never scanned them. I trusted the physical copies. I trusted that I'd never need backups because my parents would never actually refuse to pay me back. They were my parents. My phone rang. Dad. I didn't answer. Text messages started flooding in. Travis first. What did you just do? Those were important papers. Then Mom. How dare you ruin my party? Everyone is talking about you. Dad again. You need to come back right now and apologize. I sat on my couch, staring at my phone. The messages kept coming. Cousins, aunts, uncles. Everyone at the party had an opinion. Everyone had something to say about my outburst and my disrespect. But none of them asked why. None of them asked what those papers were. None of them asked why I was wearing a shirt that called me a disgrace while they wore shirts that praised them. My bank statements would show the transfers. But I had marked most of them as gifts in the memo lines because my parents had asked me to for tax purposes. I was so stupid, so trusting, so desperate to be loved. A final text came through from Dad. You just made the biggest mistake of your life. Without those papers, you have nothing. We're done helping you. Done helping me? They had never helped me. I had helped them. I had given them everything. And now they were acting like I was the problem. I looked around my small house. The house I had bought with my own money. The house I was proud of. The house that now had a second mortgage because I had borrowed against it to help my family. I thought about the shirt still in my car. The disgrace shirt. Maybe they were right. Maybe I was a disgrace. Not for the reasons they thought, but because I had let them do this to me. Because I had loved them more than I loved myself. Because I had given until I had nothing left. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering how I had gotten here, wondering how love had turned into this. I woke up to 47 missed calls. The sun was barely up, but my phone was already exploding. I grabbed it, scrolled through, voicemails from everyone. But worse than the calls was the group family text thread. Over 200 messages since last night. I opened social media. Mistake. Travis had posted. Some people are so ungrateful they destroy the family that loved them. 300 likes. Dozens of comments from relatives I hadn't spoken to in years. All agreeing, all condemning me. Kelsey had posted a video, her face red and puffy from crying. My sister ruined Mom's birthday because she's jealous. I have a family and she doesn't. She embarrassed all of us. I can't believe how selfish she is. 400 shares. I sat up in bed, my heart racing. They were spinning the story, making me the villain. And everyone believed them. I went to my computer, searched my email again. Spent 2 hours going through every message, every folder, every archive. Finally found one scanned copy of the first loan agreement. The $25,000 one from 2 years ago. But the scan was terrible. The signatures were blurry. The notary stamp was barely visible. A lawyer would laugh at it. I checked my bank statements, found all the transfers, but those memo lines haunted me. Gift to Mom and Dad. Family help. For Travis. Never loan, never to be repaid. I had helped them commit fraud against myself. Someone knocked on my door. Hard, aggressive. I looked through the peephole. My whole family. Mom, Dad, Travis, Kelsey. All of them standing on my porch. I opened the door but didn't invite them in. We need to talk, Dad said. I don't have anything to say to you. Let us in, Irma. Mom's voice was sharp. Not asking. Demanding. They pushed past me before I could stop them. walked right into my living room and sat down like they owned the place. I stood in the doorway, arms crossed. "What you did last night was unacceptable," Dad started. His voice was calm. Too calm. "You embarrassed your mother. You ruined her special day. You owe her an apology." "I owe her an apology? I paid for that party. $4,000 I didn't have, and she gave me a shirt calling me a disgrace." "It was a joke," Kelsey said. "You always take everything so seriously." "A joke? You all got shirts praising you. Mine insulted me." Travis leaned back on my couch. "Maybe if you weren't so sensitive, you'd see the humor." I wanted to scream. Instead, I walked to my desk, grabbed the one blurry scan I had printed. "Fine. Let's talk about what's really happening. You owe me $78,000. All documented. All signed. And I want it back." Dad glanced at the paper in my hand. Then he smiled. Actually smiled. "We don't owe you anything." "Excuse me? Those papers you tore up last night? Those were your only proof. And now they're gone." My blood ran cold. Mom leaned forward. "Besides, even if those papers existed, they wouldn't matter. We raised you for 18 years. Fed you, clothed you, put a roof over your head. You owe us far more than any money you gave us. That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works." Dad pulled out a folder from his bag, laid papers on my coffee table. "Actually, we have documents too. Notes about money you borrowed from us over the years." I stared at the papers. Handwritten notes, dates, amounts, my signature. Except I had never seen these before, never borrowed money from them, never signed anything like this. "Those are fake." "Prove it," Travis said. The notes claimed I owed them $90,000. For college, which I paid for myself with scholarships and 2 jobs. For a car, which I bought, used with my own money. For various emergencies that never happened. All forged, all fake. But they had dates, amounts, signatures that looked like mine. "You forged my signature." "We have witnesses who will say otherwise," Mom said. "Family members who remember lending you money, who remember you promising to pay them back. This is insane. This is fraud." Dad stood up, tall, intimidating. "Here's what's going to happen. You're going to drop this ridiculous claim. You're going to apologize to your mother. And we're all going to move forward as a family. Or you can keep pushing, and we'll pursue our claim against you for $90,000. Your choice." I looked at each of them, Travis smirking, Kelsey avoiding my eyes, Mom with that cold smile, Dad standing over me like a bully. This wasn't my family. This was a gang of con artists. "Get out of my house." "Irma," Mom started. "Get out." They left, but not before Dad said, "This isn't over." I locked the door behind them, leaned against it. My whole body was shaking. They had planned this. The forged documents, the trap, everything. My phone rang. My best friend from church, Diane. I answered, desperate for a friendly voice. "Irma, what's going on? Your mom called me crying. She said you attacked them at the party?" "What?" "No, Diane, that's not what happened. She said you destroyed important family documents and threatened them. Is that true?" "It's more complicated than that." "I don't know, Irma. Your mom seemed really upset. Maybe you should apologize and work this out?" I hung up. Even my friends believed them. My family had spent the last 12 hours calling everyone we knew, spinning their version of events, painting me as the crazy one, the unstable one, the disgrace. By evening, I had lost count of the calls and messages. Aunts, uncles, cousins, family friends. Everyone had heard the story. Everyone believed my parents. I was isolated, alone. The next morning, I went to work. My supervisor called me into her office an hour into my shift. "Irma, we need to talk. Someone called yesterday. Said you're having financial troubles. Said you might be unstable." "Who called?" "They didn't leave a name. But they seemed concerned about you." "My parents. They had called my job, trying to sabotage my career." "I'm fine. There's no problem." "Are you sure? Because if you're having personal issues, we have resources, employee assistance programs." "I don't need assistance. I'm fine." But she didn't look convinced, and I knew this was just the beginning. That afternoon, my bank called. My parents had filed a fraud claim on one of the transfers. claimed I had stolen money from their account. The bank froze my checking account pending investigation. I had $300 in cash and maxed out credit cards. My rent was due in 1 week. I sat in my car in the parking lot after work and cried. Really cried. For the first time since the birthday party. Because I finally understood. My parents weren't just refusing to pay me back. They were destroying me. Systematically. Deliberately. And I had no way to fight back. The bank investigation took 14 days. 14 days of living on cash borrowed from coworkers who pitied me. 14 days of rationing food, skipping meals, walking to work to save gas money. 14 days of watching my life fall apart. My landlord sent a pay, or quit notice. 3 days to pay rent or start eviction proceedings. I called him, begging for more time. He said he'd already been generous enough. Then the letter came. Official bank letterhead. Commercial lending division. I almost threw it away, thinking it was junk mail. But something made me open it. A business loan. $60,000. Signed by me. For Travis's consulting business. First payment missed last month. Second payment due in 5 days. Default imminent. My credit score would be destroyed. Legal action pending. I stared at the letter, read it 3 times, checked the signature, my name, in what looked like my handwriting, but I had never signed this, never even seen this document. I drove to Travis's condo, the one I had helped save from foreclosure, pounded on his door until he answered. "What's your problem?" he said, standing in the doorway in sweatpants. I shoved the letter in his face. "What is this?" He barely glanced at it. "The business loan. So? I never signed this." "Yeah, you did." "No, Travis, I didn't. This is forgery." He shrugged. Actual shrugged. "Mom and Dad said you agreed to help. They said you'd sign the papers, but you were too busy, so they did it for you." My vision blurred with rage. "That's illegal. That's fraud. That's identity theft. Prove it. Good luck finding a lawyer with your frozen bank account. Where's the business? Where's the consulting company? Didn't work out. Business failed. The money's gone." $60,000 just gone? I had debts, credit cards, and I needed a new truck. Mine was old. I stared at him. My little brother, the golden child. He had stolen $60,000 from me through forged signatures, and he didn't even care. Felt no guilt, no shame, nothing. "You're a thief." "I'm family. That's what family does. They help each other." "Help? You stole from me. You tore up all your proof, remember? So good luck proving anything." I left before I did something I'd regret. Drove straight to a lawyer's office. 1 consultation. $300, the last of my borrowed cash. The lawyer, a tired woman in her 50s, listened to my story, looked through my blurry scan and bank statements, shook her head. "Without the original loan agreements, this is," she said. "The bank statements showing transfers aren't enough. Those memo lines hurt you. What about the forged signature on the business loan? Handwriting analysis costs thousands. Even if you prove forgery, that opens another can of worms. You'd be pressing criminal charges against your parents and brother. Family court judges see these cases all the time. They often side with parents. Think you're being vindictive. So I have no options? You could sue. But litigation costs $30,000 minimum. Appeals could double that, and you might lose." I left her office with no money and no hope. I had $163 left. Rent was past due. My bank account was still frozen. The business loan payment was due in 3 days. The next morning, I got to work early. My supervisor was waiting for me. "Irma, we've had multiple calls about you, from family members expressing concern. Your mother called my boss directly yesterday." "What did she say?" "That you're mentally unstable, that you stole money from your family, that we should watch for warning signs." "None of that is true." "That may be, but we can't have this level of disruption. We're putting you on a performance improvement plan. Any mistakes, any issues, and we'll have to let you go." I worked that day in a fog. Every small task felt huge. Every interaction with coworkers was strained. They had heard the rumors. They looked at me differently, with pity, with suspicion. My church friends stopped calling. The few who did reach out asked gentle questions about my breakdown and whether I was getting help. My parents had poisoned every well. I stopped sleeping, lost weight, 14 pounds in 2 weeks. My clothes hung loose, dark circles under my eyes. I looked like what my parents claimed I was. Unstable, broken, crazy. I had a panic attack in the office bathroom. Couldn't breathe. Thought I was dying. A coworker found me and called an ambulance. I refused to go, but the damage was done. Everyone saw. Everyone knew. That night, Kelsey called. My sister, who I had given $26,000 to help with her divorce. "I want to help you," she said, her voice soft. Sweet. "Really?" "Really. Let's meet. Just you and me. We can talk." I met her at a coffee shop the next day. She hugged me, seemed genuinely concerned. We sat down, ordered coffee. She asked how I was doing, seemed to really listen. "I think Mom and Dad went too far," she said. "The T-shirt was cruel." "Thank you for saying that. I want to help you figure this out. Tell me everything." So I did. Told her about the loans, the forged documents, the frozen account, the business loan fraud. Told her everything. She nodded, sympathetic, understanding. Then she reached into her purse, pulled out her phone, smiled at me. That same cold smile our mother had. "I'm recording this," she said. "Have been the whole time. Mom and Dad wanted to make sure you didn't try to accuse them of anything else." I felt like I'd been punched. My own sister, wearing a wire, setting me up. I stood up, left the coffee shop without another word, sat in my car and finally accepted the truth. My family wasn't just refusing to help me. They were actively working to destroy me. And they were winning. The eviction notice came 2 days later. 30 days to vacate. My bank account was still frozen. The business loan went into default. Collection agencies started calling. I was losing everything. My home, my job, my reputation, my family. $78,000 gone. Now facing debts of over $200,000 when you counted the forged business loan, maxed credit cards, and the fake debts my parents claimed I owed them. I sat in my car outside the coffee shop and understood something clearly for the first time. My parents had planned this for years. The loans, the trap, all of it. They had been waiting for the perfect moment to destroy me, and I had walked right into it. 2 days after Kelsey's betrayal, I lost my job. The supervisor called me into her office first thing Monday morning. HR was there too. Professional, apologetic, cold. "We've decided to part ways," the supervisor said. "This isn't working out. You're firing me because of my parents. We're terminating your employment due to performance concerns and workplace disruption. You'll receive 2 weeks severance." 2 weeks severance, $4,000 gross, maybe $2,800 after taxes. It wouldn't even cover 1 month's rent. I cleaned out my desk while coworkers watched. Carried my box to my car. Drove home in the middle of the day like a criminal. I filed for unemployment that afternoon. The claim was denied within 48 hours. Fired for cause. No benefits, no safety net, nothing. The official eviction notice appeared on my door 3 days later. 30 days to vacate. I owed 2 months' rent plus late fees, $4,300 I didn't have and couldn't get. I was sorting through mail when I found another letter. County Recorder's Office. Copy of recorded power of attorney for your records. I never created a power of attorney. I opened the document with shaking hands, my signature at the bottom. Except it wasn't my signature. Close, but wrong. The loop's too big, the slant too steep. Forged. The document granted my father complete control over my property and finances. Authority to sell my house, access my accounts, make legal decisions on my behalf. Dated 3 months ago. Recorded as an official county document. I checked my email. Found notification from a real estate website. My house was listed for sale. As of yesterday. Listed by an agent I didn't know. My father's old golf buddy, I realized when I looked up the name. They were selling my house. The house I bought with my own money, using a forged power of attorney. Planning to keep the proceeds to cover the $90,000 they claimed I owed them. I called the title company. The agent was polite but firm. The power of attorney appears valid. It's recorded with the county. We can't stop the sale without a court order. It's forged. I never signed that. You'll need to prove that in court, ma'am. We have to proceed based on recorded documents. The house already had 2 offers. Cash buyers. The sale could close in 2 weeks. I collapsed on my kitchen floor. Actually collapsed. Couldn't stand. Couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. Everything was closing in. Walls crushing me. No escape. I hadn't eaten properly in days. Weeks, maybe. Couldn't remember my last real meal. Couldn't afford food anyway. Lived on ramen and peanut butter. Lost another 8 pounds. Clothes hanging off me. Hair falling out in clumps from stress. I was at the grocery store when it happened, standing in line with my pathetic cart. 3 things: bread, peanut butter, water. The total was $11.63. I handed over my last $20 bill. The world spun, tilted, went black. I woke up to paramedics standing over me. Fluorescent lights. Voices asking questions. Someone said dehydration and malnutrition and vitals are weak. The ambulance ride was a blur. The ER was cold, bright, loud. They hooked me up to IVs, ran tests. A doctor came in, young, concerned. You're severely dehydrated and malnourished. When did you last eat? I don't know. Yesterday? 2 days ago? You need to stay overnight for observation. I can't afford that. Do you have insurance? I lost my job. No insurance. He looked at me with pity. The same look everyone gave me now. The look that said I was pathetic, broken, a charity case. The hospital social worker came next. Middle-aged woman with kind eyes and a tired smile. She thought I was homeless, treated me like a drug addict hitting rock bottom. Offered me pamphlets for shelters and addiction programs. I didn't correct her. What was the point? The ER bill came 3 days later. $8,300, added to my growing mountain of debt. I threw it in the pile with the others. Collection notices, default warnings, legal threats. All worthless. You can't get blood from a stone. I had no options left. No money, no job, no home soon, no family, no friends, no hope. I called my ex-boyfriend, Mark. We'd dated for 4 years, broken up a year ago, ended amicably, stayed friendly. He was my last resort. I need help, I said when he answered. Irma? What's wrong? I explained everything. The loans, the betrayal, losing my job, the eviction, all of it. He listened without interrupting. When I finished, there was a long silence. You can stay here, he finally said, temporarily, until you figure things out. Really? Yeah. I have a spare room, you can use it. I cried from relief. Actually cried. Someone was helping me. Finally, someone was helping me. I moved in 2 days later. Everything I owned fit in my car. Clothes, laptop, documents, photos. A life reduced to what you can carry. Mark helped me unload, showed me the spare room. It was small but clean. Better than sleeping in my car. Thank you, I said. I'll find a job. Pay you rent. I promise. He smiled. But something was off about it. Something wrong in his eyes. Your mom called me, he said. My blood went cold. Last week. Said you were having a breakdown. Asked me to keep an eye on you if you reached out. What did you tell her? That I'd help if I could. Family is important, right? I understood then. This wasn't rescue. This was another trap. Mark was reporting back to my parents. Watching me, controlling me. I had walked right into their spider web again. But I had nowhere else to go. No money, no options, no choice. So I stayed. Became a prisoner in my ex-boyfriend's spare room. Watched. Monitored. Reported on like a criminal under house arrest. Mark checked my phone, asked where I was going, questioned who I talked to, all under the guise of concern and helping me recover. But I saw the truth. My parents had turned him into their spy. A week into living there, my parents showed up. Mark had given them a key. I was in my room when I heard the front door open, heard their voices, Mom and Dad, talking to Mark like old friends. They knocked on my bedroom door, came in without waiting for an answer, brought someone with them, a man in his 60s, professional looking, glasses and a briefcase. "This is Dr. Patterson," Dad said. "He's a psychiatrist. We've asked him to evaluate you." "I don't need a psychiatrist." "You're clearly unwell," Mom said. "You've lost weight. You're not taking care of yourself. You've become paranoid and delusional." Dr. Patterson sat down, asked me questions. How was I feeling? Was I sleeping? Eating? Did I feel safe? Did I have thoughts of hurting myself or others? I answered honestly, "No, I wasn't sleeping well. No, I wasn't eating much. Yes, I felt afraid. But I wasn't delusional. I wasn't crazy. I was being systematically destroyed by my own family." Dr. Patterson listened. Professional, neutral. After 20 minutes, he stood up. "She's not mentally ill," he told my parents. "She's traumatized. There's a difference." "But she needs help," Mom insisted. "She needs support, not commitment." "I won't sign any papers." My parents looked furious. They had tried to have me committed, tried to have me locked in a psychiatric hospital, and it had failed. But Dr. Patterson was wrong about one thing. It wouldn't be the last time they tried. They'd find another doctor, a less ethical one who would sign the papers they wanted. Mom leaned close to me before they left, whispered in my ear, "Next time, you won't be so lucky." After they left, I checked my credit report on Mark's computer while he was at work. Needed to know how bad things really were. The truth was worse than I imagined. 3 credit cards I'd never opened, in my name. Total balance, $42,000. Charges going back 18 months. Hotels, restaurants, shopping, cash advances. All my parents, using my identity, stealing from me long before the birthday party. This had been planned for years. I went to the police station that afternoon. Walked into the building on shaking legs. Filed reports for forgery, identity theft, fraud, elder abuse. Handed over every document I had left. The officer, a middle-aged man with tired eyes, listened to my story, took notes. But his expression never changed from skeptical. "These are family matters," he said finally. "Civil court, not criminal. They forged my signature, stole my identity. That's criminal. Do you have proof?" "My credit report, the power of attorney, the business loan. Any original documents proving you didn't sign these?" "They destroyed them." He sighed. "Without proof, this is just a family disagreement about money. Happens all the time. You need to sort it out in civil court. They've stolen over $200,000 from me. Then hire a lawyer. We don't get involved in family financial disputes." I left the police station with nothing. No help, no justice, no hope. The system had failed me. My family had failed me. Everyone had failed me. A week later, the notification came. My house had sold. Closed escrow. The buyers paid $223,000. My equity, my nest egg, my future, gone. Transferred to my father's bank account through the fraudulent power of attorney. My parents texted me that night, a group message including Travis and Kelsey. "You should have just worn the shirt and kept quiet. This is what happens when you disrespect family. Consider this lesson learned." I sat in Mark's spare room, reading that message over and over. They had won. Completely. Totally. I had nothing left. No house, no job, no money, no family, no hope. Just debt and trauma and the crushing weight of defeat. I thought about ending it. Really thought about it. Imagined what it would feel like to just stop. To not have to fight anymore. To not have to hurt anymore. But something stopped me. Not hope. I had no hope left. Something else. Something small. A tiny spark of rage deep in my chest. They wanted me to break. They wanted me to give up. They wanted me destroyed. And I was so tired of giving them what they wanted. I lay on Mark's couch for 3 days. Didn't shower. Barely moved. Scrolled through messages from family members gloating about my destruction. Kelsey posted photos of her kids at Disneyland. Travis posted pictures of his new truck. Mom posted about her upcoming cruise. All funded by my money, my stolen money. I stared at the ceiling. Thought about that spark of rage. Wondered if it was enough. If I was enough. If I could do anything at all. The answer felt like no. It felt like giving up was the only logical choice. Then, the doorbell rang. Mark was at work. I thought about not answering, thought about hiding, but something made me get up. Something made me look through the peephole. A young woman stood on the porch. Late 20s, dark hair, nervous. I didn't recognize her. I opened the door. Can I help you? Are you Irma? Yes. I'm Haley. I used to date Travis. I saw what happened on social media. I need to talk to you. Something in her voice. Urgency, fear, recognition, the sound of someone who understood. I let her in. We sat in Mark's living room. She looked at me, really looked at me, and saw what I looked like. 20 pounds lighter, unwashed hair, dark circles, defeated. I know what they did to you, she said quietly, because they did it to me too. Everything shifted. The air, the light, the world. Someone believed me. Haley told me her story. She had dated Travis for 3 years. They got engaged. His parents seemed nice at first. Loving, welcoming. Then they asked for help, money. Just a loan, just temporary. It started small, she said. $5,000 for car repairs. They signed an agreement. Then $10,000 for home repairs. Then $19,000 for Travis's business idea. $34,000 total. All documented, all promised to be repaid. When I asked for the money back, they turned on me. Said I was greedy, materialistic, not good enough for Travis. They made him break up with me. Told everyone I was trying to steal from them. Did you sue them? I tried. They had forged documents saying I owed them money. They launched a smear campaign, turned all our mutual friends against me, made me look crazy. Eventually, I gave up, moved to another state, started over. So there's no hope. I thought that. For 2 years, I thought that. But I kept everything. Every document, every email, every text message. And I started researching. She pulled a box from her bag. Files, documents, evidence. I found 2 other victims. People they did this to years ago. Your dad's cousin, your mom's former coworker. Same pattern every time. Loans, promises, forgery, destruction. How many people? At least 5, including you. Probably more. Combined, they've stolen over $400,000. $400,000. This wasn't family drama. This was a crime spree. One of the other victims is a paralegal now. Another is an accountant. We've been gathering evidence, building a case, waiting for the right moment. Why are you telling me this? Because you can help us. You're the newest victim. Your case is fresh. The timeline is clear. And you're willing to fight. I can see it in you. That anger. That refusal to give up completely. The spark. The rage. She saw it too. What do you need me to do? Help us build an airtight case. Get your parents to confess. Record them admitting what they did. Then we go to the authorities together. 5 victims, overwhelming evidence. They can't ignore us all. For the first time in weeks, I felt something other than despair. Purpose, direction, a plan. Haley introduced me to the others. Diane, the paralegal in her early 40s. She had lost $38,000 6 years ago. Mark, the accountant, late 50s. He had lost $62,000 8 years ago. All family friends or distant relatives, all destroyed by the same tactics. We met at Diane's apartment, spread evidence across her dining room table. Documents, timelines, patterns. The picture was clear. My parents were sophisticated con artists who specialized in family fraud. Diane had done her research. County records show your dad has filed 7 fraudulent powers of attorney over 10 years, all later revoked quietly. Pattern of property fraud. Mark added, tax records show suspicious income, cash deposits, property sales. They're not reporting everything. IRS would be very interested. But how do we prove it? I asked. Diane pulled out her laptop. We need confession, recording or email, proof of intent, and pattern. Then we go to the financial crimes unit. I can't get them to confess. They're too smart. Not if you give them what they want. Surrender. Make them think they've won completely. That's when they'll get cocky. That's when they'll talk. The plan formed. I would contact my parents, tell them I was giving up, agree to sign papers forgiving all debts, come to their house for family dinner. They'd gloat. They'd confess. I'd record everything. It's risky, Haley warned. If they suspect anything, we lose our chance. They won't suspect. I look defeated because I am defeated. They'll believe it. Diane knew an investigator in the financial crimes unit, specialized in elder fraud and family exploitation. He agreed to look at our evidence informally, reviewed everything, made copies, took notes. This is prosecutable, he said. But I need proof of intent. Confession. Something that shows they planned it. We're working on it. Good. Because these people are predators. They need to be stopped. We prepared for a week. Diane coached me on questions to ask, how to get them talking, how to guide conversation toward confession. We bought a high-quality recording device, tested it, made sure it worked. I called my parents on Tuesday, left a voicemail. My voice was broken, defeated, real. I can't do this anymore. You win. I'll sign whatever you want, please. I just want this to stop. Mom called back in 10 minutes. I could hear the triumph in her voice. I'm so glad you've come to your senses. We never wanted to hurt you. We just want our family back. Lies. All lies. But I played along. Can we have dinner? At your house? I'll bring the papers. We can settle everything. Tomorrow night, 6 o'clock. I'll make your favorite. She had no idea what my favorite food was. Never had. Never cared enough to know. I spent that night memorizing questions, practicing, preparing. The recording device was tiny, fit in my purse. Voice, activated, professional quality. Diane went over the plan one more time. Get them to admit to specific amounts, specific forgeries. Any mention of Haley or the other victims. The more details, the better. What if they find the device? Then we've lost. But they won't look. They think you're broken. They think they've won. Arrogance is their weakness. I barely slept that night. Kept thinking about everything that could go wrong, everything I had lost, everything that was riding on this. Mark asked what I was doing the next day. I lied. Said I was meeting a potential employer. He reported it to my parents. But that was good. Made my surrender seem more believable. The other victims were on standby, ready to file police reports simultaneously, ready to back me up, ready to corroborate everything. This ends tomorrow, Haley said when she dropped me off at Mark's. One way or another, either we destroy them or they destroy all of us. I looked in the mirror before bed, saw someone I barely recognized, thin, exhausted, traumatized, but still standing, still fighting, that spark of rage burning brighter now, building into something bigger. Tomorrow, my parents would gloat about their victory. Tomorrow, they would confess to their crimes. Tomorrow, everything would change. I just had to survive until then. I arrived at my parents' house at 5:55. Early enough to seem eager, late enough to seem defeated. The recording device was in my purse on the passenger seat. Tested, working, ready. Mom opened the door with a smile. Warm, welcoming, fake. Sweetie, I'm so glad you came. The house smelled like pot roast. Not my favorite. I hated pot roast. But she'd made it anyway because she genuinely thought I liked it, or didn't care enough to remember the truth. Everyone was there. Dad in his recliner, Travis on the couch, Kelsey in the kitchen helping Mom. Even Kelsey's kids, playing in the corner. One big happy family. Except for the rotting core underneath. Sit down, Dad said, gesturing to the dining room. Dinner's almost ready. Saturday. Put my purse on the chair next to me. The recording device's microphone was top, quality, would pick up everything. We ate first. Mom served pot roast and vegetables. Everyone talked about normal things. Travis's job, Kelsey's kids, Mom's garden. Like nothing had happened. Like they hadn't spent months destroying my life. I played along, smiled, nodded, asked questions, waited. After dinner, Dad brought out papers. 3 documents. I read them while everyone watched. First document. Release of all debts. I acknowledged that my parents owed me nothing. That all money given was gifts. That I had no claim against them. Second document. Acknowledgement that I owed them $90,000. That I would repay them when able. That this debt was real and valid. Third document. Apology. Written statement admitting I had wrongfully accused them. that I was mentally unwell when I made claims against them, that I accepted full responsibility for damaging our family relationship. Just sign these, Mom said sweetly, and we can all move forward. I picked up the pen, let my hand shake a little. Before I sign, I just need to understand something. What's that? The business loan with Travis. That was really my signature? Dad laughed. Actually laughed. Relaxed. Confident. Of course not. But who's going to prove it wasn't? There. Confession. Admission of forgery. On recording. And the money I gave you, you never intended to pay it back? Why would we? Mom said, sipping wine. Your family. You owe us for raising you, for giving you life. That money was just you repaying a debt you've owed since birth. Travis leaned back in his chair. I told you she'd break eventually. She always was the weak one. Keep them talking. Get more details. What about the power of attorney? How did you do that? Dad smiled, proud of himself. Your signature isn't that hard to forge. We've been practicing for years. Years? Mom waved her hand. Oh, sweetie, we've been planning this since you bought that house. We knew you had equity. We knew we could use it. We just needed the right moment. My heart pounded. They were confessing to everything. Intent, planning, premeditation. And Haley? I asked quietly. Travis's ex-girlfriend? Travis snorted. That gold digger? We did the same thing to her. She was stupid enough to fall for it too. Confession to Haley's case. Multiple victims. Pattern of fraud. How many others? I asked. Dad laughed. What's this, confession time? You writing a book? I'm just trying to understand. 5 or 6 over the years, Mom said. Your dad's cousin, Craig. My old coworker, Sandra. A few others. All of them too dumb to see it coming. 5 or 6. More victims than we knew about. Federal crime levels of fraud. Kelsey came back from the kitchen. Oh, the credit cards. Tell her about the credit cards. What credit cards? I asked. Mom smiled. The ones we opened in your name. Since you were 18, actually. How do you think we funded Travis's college? Kelsey's wedding? All those family vacations? 14 years of identity theft. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. You've been stealing from me since I was 18? Not stealing, Dad corrected. Using what was ours. You're our daughter. Everything you have, we gave you. We're just taking what's rightfully ours. Perfect. They'd admitted to everything. Intent, multiple victims, years of fraud, all on recording. I reached for my purse. Needed to make sure the device was still running. My hand brushed the zipper. Travis stood up to get another beer. Walked past my chair. His foot caught my purse strap. The purse fell. Contents spilled across the floor. The recording device rolled out. Small. Black. Red light blinking. Everything stopped. Travis picked it up. Looked at it. Looked at me. What the hell is this? Time froze. My breath stopped. This wasn't supposed to happen. Is this a recorder? Dad stood up. Angry now. Were you recording us? I grabbed for it. Travis pulled it back. Dad lunged across the table. I got there first. Snatched it from Travis's hand. Held it against my chest. Give me that, Dad demanded. No. Travis grabbed my wrist. Hard. Painful. I wouldn't let go. Couldn't let go. Everything depended on this device. Let go, Travis shouted. He shoved me. Hard. I fell backward. Hit the corner of the dining room table. My eyebrows split open. Blood immediately. Hot and wet. Running down my face. Dad grabbed my purse. Dumped everything out. Found my phone. I'd been recording on that too, backup, uploaded to cloud automatically. She recorded everything, Dad said, looking at the screen. Mom's face went white. Did you send it anywhere? I smiled through the blood. Already uploaded. Multiple copies, multiple people. It's over. Kelsey grabbed her phone. Called 911. My sister broke into our parents' house. She's attacking them. We need police. I didn't break in. You invited me. Who's gonna believe you? Mom said. But her voice was shaking. She was scared. They were all scared. I held up my phone. Showed them the screen. Sent to paralegal. Sent to investigator. Sent to other victims. Sent to cloud backup. You can't stop it now. Dad raised his fist. Actually raised it, ready to hit me. I didn't flinch, just stared at him. Go ahead, I said. Add assault to your charges. Sirens in the distance, getting closer. 2 patrol cars pulled up, 4 officers. Travis and Kelsey were at the door immediately, talking, crying, pointing at me. She attacked us. She's crazy. She broke in. The officers came inside. Saw me bleeding, saw my parents standing over me, saw the chaos. What happened here? The first officer asked. Check with Detective Morrison, I said. Financial Crimes Unit. He's expecting your call. The officer looked skeptical but stepped outside. Made a call. Came back 5 minutes later. His whole demeanor had changed. Ma'am, are you Irma? Yes. Detective Morrison confirms you're working with his office. Are you injured? My brother pushed me. I hit the table. The officer looked at Travis. Is that true? Travis stammered. Looked at our parents. Didn't know what to say. Another car pulled up. Diane and Haley. They had been waiting nearby. Brought boxes of documents. Police reports from all the victims. Timeline. Evidence. Detective Morrison arrived 20 minutes later. 3 more detectives with him. Financial Crimes Unit. They separated everyone. Took statements. Started searching the house with a warrant they'd had ready. They found files. Folders full of forged documents. Plans. Notes about how to manipulate people. Lists of potential victims. My parents had been running cons for over 15 years. Dad was arrested first. Assault. Then fraud charges added. They handcuffed him right there in the living room. Read him his rights. He looked at me with pure hatred. Mom started crying, begging. We're her parents. We were just trying to help the family. By stealing from your daughter? Detective Morrison asked. By forging her signature? By destroying her credit? That's not help. That's crime. They arrested Mom, too. Travis and Kelsey both confessed under questioning, admitted their roles. Both were charged with conspiracy and fraud. An ambulance came for me. Paramedics cleaned my eyebrow. 7 stitches. They wanted me to go to the hospital. I refused. Needed to see this through. I gave my statement. 3 hours of questions. Showed them everything. The recording, the timeline, the evidence. They took copies of everything. This is one of the biggest family fraud cases we've seen, Detective Morrison said. You did the right thing, the hard thing, but the right thing. I sat in Diane's car later that night. Haley in the back seat. We watched police load boxes of evidence. Watched my parents sitting in separate patrol cars. Watched my childhood home become a crime scene. Is it really over? I asked. The criminal case is just starting, Diane said. But yes, they can't hurt you anymore. I touched the stitches on my eyebrow, felt the dried blood on my face, looked at my destroyed family, my parents, my siblings, all facing prison time. I had destroyed my family. That's what they'd say. That's what some people would believe. I had torn it apart, exposed everything, ended it all. But the truth was simpler. They had destroyed themselves. I had just refused to be destroyed with them. 3 months after the arrests, I sat in a courtroom and watched justice happen. Federal charges, identity theft, wire fraud, mail fraud, conspiracy. The prosecutors had built a case using 14 years of evidence, bank records, forged documents, victim testimony. The recording from that dinner played for the jury. My parents' voices admitting everything. The trial lasted 3 weeks. Media covered it. Local news, some national attention, family con artists. The headlines read, Parents steal from daughter for years. I didn't watch the coverage. Didn't read the articles. Just showed up every day and told the truth. Haley testified. Diane testified. Mark testified. 2 more victims we'd found testified. 6 people total, all with the same story. Same tactics, same destruction. The jury heard everything. My parents showed no remorse, sat in court looking angry, entitled, betrayed, somehow. Like we were the problem. Like exposing their crimes was worse than committing them. Their lawyer argued family dispute, misunderstanding, generous parents who helped ungrateful children. The jury didn't buy it. Guilty on all counts, every single one. I sat in that courtroom and felt nothing, not satisfaction, not relief, just exhaustion, just the weight of years of trauma finally acknowledged. Sentencing came 2 weeks later. Dad got 18 years federal prison. Mom got 15 years. Travis got 5 years. Kelsey got 3 years probation and 500 hours community service. The judge called it a breach of the most sacred trust, family. But they weren't my family anymore. Not really. Maybe they never had been. The court ordered restitution. Everything my parents owned was liquidated. Their house sold for $418,000. Retirement accounts emptied. Cars gone. Travis's truck seized. Every asset identified and sold. My house was returned to me. The fraudulent sale reversed. I got the keys back 4 months after losing them. Walking back into that house felt like breathing again, like coming back to life. The restitution money came in installments. $160,000, $2,000 total. Not the full amount they'd stolen, but something. I paid off the fraudulent business loan. Paid off the credit cards they'd opened in my name. Paid off my actual debts. Had money left over. Not much, but enough to start again. The extended family fractured. Some apologized. My grandmother cried when she called. "I'm sorry. I should have believed you. I should have protected you." She added me back to her will. Not for the money. For the acknowledgement that I mattered. Some aunts and uncles reached out. Admitted they'd been manipulated. Admitted they'd been wrong. I forgave some of them. Not all. Forgiveness has to be earned. Others still blamed me. Cousins who said I destroyed the family. Friends who said I should have handled it privately. I let them go. Their opinions couldn't hurt me anymore. I started therapy. Twice a week at first. Learned about narcissistic family systems. Learned about scapegoats and golden children. Learned that none of this was my fault. That I had been groomed to be a victim since childhood. That walking away wasn't betrayal. It was survival. I joined a support group for financial abuse survivors. Met every Tuesday night. Shared stories. Listened to others. Realized I wasn't alone. Realized this happened more than anyone talked about. Family fraud. Parent abuse. Silent crimes that destroyed lives. I got a new job. Better than the old one. Victim Services Coordinator for the District Attorney's Office. I helped other fraud victims navigate the system. Explain their rights. Connected them with resources, gave them hope. My pain had purpose now. My trauma became my strength. Haley became my best friend. Real friend. The kind who shows up, who protects you, who values you. We met for coffee every week. Talked about healing, about rebuilding, about moving forward. The 5 other victims formed a support network. We met monthly, helped each other, started a nonprofit to help family fraud victims. Lobbied for better laws, spoke at conferences, became advocates, turned our worst experiences into tools to help others. I started speaking publicly about my case, law enforcement conferences, victim advocacy groups, university criminal justice classes, told my story over and over until it didn't hurt anymore, until it was just facts, just history, just something that happened to me, not something that defined me. A documentary filmmaker contacted me. Wanted to tell my story. I said yes. The film came out a year later. Aired on a streaming platform. Reached millions of people. I got messages from survivors all over the country. Thank you for speaking up. Your story gave me courage. I'm not alone anymore. I learned to set boundaries. To say no. To protect myself. To define my own worth without needing family approval. Therapy taught me that family isn't who you're born to. Family is who shows up. Who protects you? Who values you for who you are, not what you can give them. I sold my parents' house after they went to prison, the one they'd lived in my whole childhood, the one full of memories, good and bad. Got $395,000. Split it among the victims as additional restitution. Kept enough to pay off every remaining debt. To rebuild my emergency fund. To start fresh. I took my first real vacation. 2 weeks in Europe. Paris, Rome, Barcelona, ate good food, saw beautiful things, felt alive for the first time in years. Learned what it felt like to spend money on myself without guilt, without fear, without wondering if I should be giving it to someone else. My 33rd birthday came, 1 year after the tea, shirt party. Haley threw me a small party. Just close friends from the support group. People who understood. People who had survived their own versions of hell. Someone gave me a gift. A custom tee. Shirt as a joke. I opened it and laughed. Really laughed. Deep and genuine. The shirt said, "Strongest woman we know." Everyone laughed with me. No cruelty in it, just love, just celebration. I wore that shirt, took photos, posted them on social media. Let people see that I had survived, that I had won, that their attempts to destroy me had failed. A letter came from prison, from Mom. I almost threw it away without reading. But curiosity won. I opened it. Read her words. No apology, just blame. You destroyed this family. You ruined everything. I hope you're happy. I read it once, then I burned it in my fireplace. Watched the paper curl and blacken, felt nothing but peace. Her words couldn't touch me anymore. Her opinion didn't matter. She had no power over me. I realized something sitting there watching that letter burn. For years, I had believed I needed their approval, their love, their acceptance. I had given everything trying to earn something they were never going to give. Because they didn't know how. Because they didn't want to. Because I was never the problem. The disgrace was never mine to carry. It was theirs. And I had finally put it down. My life now is small, simple, but it's mine. I have a job I love, friends who care about me, a house that's truly my home, money in the bank, peace in my heart. No one stealing from me. No one manipulating me. No one destroying me. I help fraud victims every day. New people walking into my office with the same broken look I used to have, the same confusion, the same shame. I sit with them and say, "You're not alone. I understand. And yes, you can survive this." I tell them my story, show them the path forward, offer hope when they have none. Watch them transform from victims to survivors. Watch them rebuild, watch them win. Some people think family means never giving up, never walking away, never breaking ties, but sometimes the bravest thing you can do is leave, is protect yourself, is choose your own survival over their comfort. Tearing up those papers at the birthday party wasn't destruction. It was liberation. The first step towards saving myself. I didn't destroy my family. I exposed them. And that exposure saved me. Your worth isn't determined by how family treats you. You're not obligated to accept abuse because you share blood. Protecting yourself isn't selfish. It's necessary. It's healthy. It's right. Justice sometimes requires destroying what you thought you needed. Requires burning down the lies to find the truth. Requires choosing yourself even when everyone else says you're wrong. You can rebuild from nothing. I'm proof. Stronger, wiser, freer. The family you choose is often better than the family you're given. The people who show up, who protect you, who value you, those are your real family. I look at my life now and barely recognize it from 3 years ago. That broken woman at the birthday party, wearing that cruel shirt, seems like a stranger. I mourn her. I honor her. I thank her for not giving up, for holding on to that tiny spark of rage that eventually became a fire. I was never the biggest disgrace to this family. I was the only one brave enough to tell the truth, and that made all the difference. If you're facing something similar, if your family is destroying you, if you feel alone and hopeless, please know this: you're not alone. There are people who will believe you, who will help you, who will stand with you. Reach out, speak up, save yourself. You deserve better. You deserve peace. You deserve a life that's truly yours. And to everyone who has survived family betrayal, financial abuse, or toxic relationships, I see you. I believe you. Your pain is real. Your trauma is valid. And your decision to walk away, to fight back, to choose yourself, that was brave. That was right. That was survival. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it helps someone out there who needs to hear it. I hope it gives courage to someone who's barely holding on. I hope it shows that justice is possible, that healing is possible, that rebuilding is possible. Have you ever had to choose between family loyalty and self-protection? How did you find the courage to put yourself first? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story might help someone else who's struggling. If this story resonated with you, Please like this video and subscribe to hear more stories about overcoming adversity and finding strength in the hardest moments. Share this with anyone who might need to hear it. Sometimes one story can change everything. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. I wish you peace, strength, and the courage to choose yourself. Always.